we're not at Epic Event Center. We're at a hotel with Rudy and Alex from Quiet Riot. Thank you guys for taking some time before showtime tonight. I really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. So I was trying to think about this earlier. Obviously, both of you guys have played in so many different artists or so many different bands over the years. And Rudy, you and I have talked before, and I was trying to remember for what band it was. And I remembered Metal.
Metal, yeah.
Metal USA, because I was doing at the time, a syndicated classic metal show. And I had you on, and we talked about that, and obviously the days in Quiet Riot, Nazi, and all that stuff. So, but that's like 12 years ago, 10, 12 years ago,
easy.
Something like that.
Yeah. Metal, it's a band that, basically a Japanese band, and we played Metal theme songs in a metal arrangements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely an interesting project. There's no question about it. It was very cool though, and fun to listen to. But since then, it's been a journey. Quiet Riot coming back together a couple of years ago, really, and then post Frankie, you coming back to the band. Catch me up from there. That you guys decided to put this back together and really, pay the proper respects to Kevin and Frankie.
The band has been together all along.
Yeah, the band never really broke up. It was getting back together with Rudy.
Right.
But yeah, no, the band never. I mean, the band actually was only broken up from 2007, 2010 when Kevin Dubrow passed away.
Right.
We got back together in 2010. Frankie called me to get back with him and audition singers. If you've seen the movie, it was on Showtime for a couple of years. You see that process that we went through. And
it was Frankie's wife who did that?
Yes, Regina.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they weren't married at the time. They were just, together.
Sure.
And it just sort of morphed into a thing. But then no one had any idea Frankie was going to get sick, and just sort of, life happens. Life goes on.
Right.
And but yeah, the band's never really stopped since 2010. But Rudy came back in 2020, early 2020.
Right.
Sorry, his first show was
2021.
Actually
2021.
2021, yes.
Yeah.
20. Frankie passed away in 2021, yeah.
Just in time for a pandemic. It's good timing. I said just
Frankie,
in time for a pandemic. It's a good timing.
Well,
Never mind.
Frankie. It was rough because once he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, stage 4, and there's the footage in the video that Regina took, unbeknownst to us, because we were just like one-on-one, and he was telling me, and it's a scene where we're standing in his backyard, in his garden, and he's telling me about it, and immediately, right after that, that's when COVID happened.
Almost immediately, yeah. It was weird timing when you think about the years that have gone by in the past 3 or 4 of them. COVID almost erased for a lot of people's lives. Yeah. So it was very condensed. So it almost seemed like Frankie got sick, and then immediately after, we all put everything on pause. Yeah. And then, it was pretty crazy.
Good on you guys to keep it rolling though. Well, and come back and start touring.
Yeah, but one thing I want to add is that we became isolated. Because him going through chemo, you can go over to his house. Even he lives like 15 minutes away from me.
Yeah. Even
with a mask on and that by the time he passed away, the shots were not available yet.
Right.
Passed away. I mean, for everybody. Yeah. August of.
We're trying to do an interview right here, dude.
August 20 of 20. August 20 of 2020.
Yeah.
And it was. I'll be forever grateful to Regina that she actually asked and begged the hospital staff to allow me in the hospital during the height of COVID, so I could be there, to say my goodbyes to him and hold his hand. It was very, very tough.
I bet. Can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, at least as far as the music goes, I imagine playing those songs every night that you guys have done for so long and did with obviously people you're very close with, family, has to be a healing and feel good, right? I mean, to play that music in front of people.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we share Quiet Riot in common, but we have different perception and phases, eras of Quiet Riot.
It's a funny thing.
It's a weird timeline.
Well, here's the weirdest thing. I always tell people that Rudy and I cross each other in the hallway on the way out. In other words, he had left the band, or the band had dissolved in 2002, 2003.
Right.
And I met Kevin DuBrow around the same time, 2003, which is when I Can't Hold On was written. So as and that version of the band was dissolving, I was coming in. Kevin and I, we wrote that song before I was even in Quiet Riot. I was playing in a solo band, and that's literally almost 20 years ago now. Jeez. So we've experienced, Mental Health is now turning 40 years. We're celebrating the 40th anniversary.
And I apologize, when we were setting up, I said 50 for some reason. I aged myself even more than you guys.
50, 40, who's counting?
50, 40, 60, 70, 80, hey.
It's a huge anniversary for one of the quintessential hard rock and heavy metal albums in history, though.
Yeah, it really is, and I distinctly remember being at Kevin's house in 2003, recording, and not just that song, but we wrote a lot, because there was no pretense, there was no ideals about what needed to be this, or no expectations to live up to, because I was not in the original version of Quiet Riot, the Mental Health version, the iconic one. So it was just like, play you, do you. And that was the 20th anniversary. Now here we are. This song just came out on the 40th anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that for a second.
Obviously, you're speaking of the new song that you guys just put out.
I Can't Hold On. Yes.
I Can't Hold On, from the remastered version of Rehab, right?
Yes.
An album that came out in 2008.
2006. Yeah.
Again, timeline is fun. But this song, you found it on iPod?
Yeah, well, what happened was I would go to Kevin's house in Las Vegas. I still lived in Hollywood at the time, and this is before you could hit an MP3, send on an MP3, and have to be overnighted that night.
Yeah.
So I'd dump songs into his computer, and he would write lyrics to them, and then I'd see him at the airport the following weekend when we'd be flying out to do a gig, and he'd give me a CDR. I Can't Hold On was on a CDR amongst a bunch of other songs that I dumped into a friend's computer. That was found, and you know how when you sync up your iTunes to your desktop, it automatically dumps everything in.
Yep.
And then when you sync up the new iPod to the new desktop, it syncs everything in. So I had to try to follow it down, which I did. I chased it down, flew to LA 3 times to make the video, do the tracking, everything with everybody involved.
Wow.
And because I just knew that Kevin was so proud of that track. What happened was when I recorded the music for it, I was driving from Vegas to Los Angeles, which is about 5-6 hours, give or take. And Kevin would call me every hour. I got a new verse. I'd be all excited about it, And it was cool to hear how happy he was with that track. So I'm like, he really would have liked to see it. And I'm not just saying that because I was there. I know for a fact he would really be happy with this, because he was really proud of that song, because it wasn't, if you listen to it, it's not your typical Quiet Riot.
It's a little ballady.
It's a ballady. It's it's more pop rock, hot AC, adult contemporary, type thing, and I don't think Kevin ever really got the recognition he deserved as a songwriter, because he was known for covering Slade songs and singing about metal, and then being Kevin DuBrow, which was why Kevin DuBrow was so awesome. But there was another side to him, and I'm really glad that I can, from beyond, do him this honor, if you will.
It's amazing. The song's
and
available.
I'm glad everyone that's involved are his people too. So it's not just being done for the right reasons; it's being done right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So let me go a little bit past the time frame of the recording of Rehab and then Kevin's untimely passing, and deciding to keep Quiet Riot going, which is Pearl on vocals. And what was the decision to keep it rolling? Obviously, then you and Frankie and
there really was no decision really being made. It was just like this. The show. When Frankie got sick, he I'll never forget this, and it's hard to talk about. But he called me. I'll never forget this. I was on the front lawn of my place in Vegas, and he goes, "I don't know if you know it or not, but I'm fighting something." I go, "Okay, I know you've been missing shows, and I had brought Johnny in to play drums and everything." And he goes, "Well, I'm fighting."
What a fantastic drummer, by the way, Johnny Kelly.
Johnny Kelly. Typo negative.
Yeah, I know.
There's
all-time favorite bands.
There's another story there, by the way.
Okay,
there's a connection.
We'll come back to it.
So Frankie says, "I'm fighting something." I said, "What are you fighting?" He goes, "I'm fighting cancer." I said, "Okay, but there's lymphoma cancer, then there's this stage 4 pancreatic. And when he told me what it was, I'm like, my heart just sank. He's like, well, if you're fighting stage 4 pancreatic cancer, then I feel bad for stage 4 pancreatic cancer. You're the strongest dude I know.
Yeah.
And that being said, he's like, who do you think, drummer? Because, anyone
what he's thinking about, right?
And he said, and Johnny, Typo Negative, Kevin DuBro's favorite the only new band Kevin liked. I mean,
was Typo Negative?
I know, because
Rudy can attest
we
to
were on
this,
tour. We were on a tour bus, and he brings in this CD tape, whatever it was. This is like in 2000, whatever we had in the bus. And he was like, he kept playing over and over, and I loved it because it was so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Typo, yeah.
Dude.
It's like and Frankie's first gig that he was gonna miss was Dallas, Texas. And Regina called me. She goes, "You know any drummers in Dallas?" I go. And Johnny had just started moving back and forth from New Jersey, where Typo's from, New York band.
Of course.
And I'm like, actually, John Kelly, who plays in another band, Hookers of Blow, that I do, he can do it. And Frankie liked him as a person.
Yeah.
Most importantly, trusted him as a person and as a drummer and musician and his legacy. So when fast forward a year and a half, 2 years, when Frankie finally had to say, I can't do this anymore between COVID and his deteriorating health, he goes, you think Johnny Kelly could do it? I go, I can ask him. And I called Johnny, I go, dude, you want to be in Quiet Riot? Like, it was the worst phone call I ever had to make because it was, as Rudy would say, a finality to the whole thing.
Sure.
Man, Frankie was done. But he was done, but he was having a say in who took his place.
That's incredible.
And the guy that took his place said yes. So, winner, chicken dinner.
No kidding. Well,
Talk about look at the bright side.
I can't wait to see you guys live tonight. I imagine the song "Can't Hold On" is not in the set list.
I mean, it's funny. We have not been in the same room together since the song came out. It's been only a week. It's literally been 5 days.
It came out on Tuesday.
Yeah. So we haven't unpacked since the last show. Let alone learned a new song. Come on, dude.
Just curious. I gotta ask. You know what I mean? Well, again,
we might address it. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting the reaction.
Yeah.
But
I'm getting positive. Really, really positive reaction from people. At least it feels that way. On our end.
No, it's we're definitely feeling it on our end too, which is amazing, and it's so happy. I'm so happy because it's what those guys I think would have wanted. And
For me, it's really weird because it wasn't like there was no major strategy of like, wow, we're gonna do this, and that. It was like, it was like, okay, we got a song. We actually all came about because we're looking at what do you have material. What do you have? Yeah. What do I have? And we started exchanging songs, and he goes, oh, I got this one. And then by the time I got it, it was all there. Frankie's drums, of course, guitars, vocals, and so all I had to do is just lay down the bass track. But it's been over a year.
Yeah. Oh, I suppose.
I mean, since I laid the, since the song was done, right? Yeah. So it was just.
It's to aggregate it and process the whole thing.
So and I think Alex feels the same way. To me, this is more of a tribute, not only from us, from Regina. Mm-hmm. And it's. Yeah. I mean, one thing is losing. Frankie. I met Frankie 50 years ago on my birthday. 50. In 1972.
Right. Yeah, I remember that story. He was playing with a band that opened for David Bowie. Is that
exactly.
right? Yeah, I remember that story.
You got the story. Yeah. So this is a 50-year-old friendship. We left Florida together and we traveled the country and went up in LA. 10 years later, while I was still a member of Ozzy, I wanted to record one song for what became Metal Health.
Right.
But, I stayed in the band after that. Okay, so this is, and, we have a deep relationship, but there's nothing like a husband and wife.
Well, of course.
That is a whole different, completely, dynamics. I've been married for 38 years. I get it. So this is more something that we let when it was the right time. Regina felt it's the right time with the right components and everything. So this is what that song is. Yep. Really, it's a tribute not only from the band, but from Frankie's wife, Regina, who put, she assembled the video. I say assemble because it's footage taken from here and there and then Can you imagine how hard it is to watch that?
Yeah.
For Regina? Like,
No.
And here's the thing with Regina, and from her perspective, which I'm just starting to wrap my head around, it's still very heavy for me, is I wrote the song with Kevin, Rudy played bass on it, we delivered the musical out of it, but she was there from every aspect of the video, from the second number one runs to the last 4 minutes, 55 seconds, whatever. That was her. She experienced all those things in the hospital, recording us, you know, so she was there emotionally going through that roller coaster on every level, which we were. I didn't get to see Frankie in the hospital because of COVID. So.
And she did that before the song even appeared.
Yes, that's the biggest thing. Yes, that's the thing. Yeah.
Well, Frankie passed away, and then this whole thing. Whoa, I got this song that I found in a. And then it's like.
But she had been rolling tape, being the documentary filmmaker that she is.
Right.
Just instinctually, not because like I'm going to film. No, just because when you are a filmmaker or a musician, when you have an idea, you turn on your phone and you record it. Yep. She did the same thing, and she happened to have all this archival footage, which is some heavy ass shit, as you can see. You know.
Oh, it was actually the first draft of the video was even heavier.
The first draft of the video is a bummer. It was. I never intervened because it's like, baby.
Yeah, you do your thing.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, I'm just going to put this out there. I think you can dial back this and put a little more of this because it's a little much. Even I said, you lived it, you're numb to it, you're too close to it. We're in the middle, Rudy and I, you know, in pretty much every way. So it was, and God bless her because it all worked out to bring you the final product which you see. But yeah, it was heavier.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Let's party.
Well, I mean, it's
on
reality.
that note.
You know, no, I mean, it's real life. You know,
it is real life. It is real life.
You know, to be honest with you, it took me decades to find out our purpose. Meaning, 40 years ago, I was on tour with Ozzy Osbourne, and we lost Randy Rhoads in a crash. I lost the joy of playing. I did not know how to handle. Well, I did not know about my responsibility or the responsibility of everybody that's left behind to celebrate. It's our responsibility to celebrate those that have gone before us. Nobody else will.
If you don't, nobody else will.
If you don't do it, nobody else will. You know. So it took me decades to find that. So as a matter of fact, what I'm telling you, I told Frankie in the
movie. That's what made me keep the band going after you. Yes.
In the documentary, well, Kevin passes away, and we're in the kitchen. It's in the documentary. And I told Frankie, if you don't do this, if you don't carry on, nobody is going to celebrate the legacy of your friend, meaning Kevin the Bro. And so I took my own advice. You know, this is why I'm here. You know, so now I do understand. So when we go on stage, it's totally a celebration.
Absolutely.
Of everything connected with Quiet Riot. Celebration of Frankie, Kevin, Randy, you know, the legacy of the band, what we achieved, all of that.
And what the band did, I mean, that was a big thing too, because, you know, I grew up a generation or two behind. But what Quiet Riot did was knock on the door for the Motley Crues and the Guns N' Roses, which is what I grew up on because I'm younger. But
yeah, you and I are pretty close.
If it weren't for these guys, you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because like he said, if no one else does, no one else will.
Yeah.
And that's it. You know, it really comes down to that.
Yeah.
For you as a guitar player to get to LA in the early 2000s and start playing with sort of the legends of this genre, this world. That must have been kind of a trip, though, right? I mean, you grew up, like we just said, you know, grew up listening to all that stuff, and then go play guitar for it. I'm a guitar player, too, and we're close to the same age, grew up listening to the same music. It's like it's a one-way meeting Santa Claus and finding out he doesn't exist. Merry Christmas.
No, and that's and I mean that in the best way possible. Trust me. It's just, if you're gonna do it, just do it, and that's why we're doing it. You know?
Awesome.
But yeah, there's certain things like who's your favorite band growing up?
Metallica.
All right.
Metallica, Guns N' Roses, those were 1A, 1B. Alice in Chains, obviously, right there as well.
But when you actually just sit in a room with them sleeping on your couch, you're going, oh man.
Oh, dude, no way.
Careful what you wish for.
I know. All of those.
But either way, but if that music affected your life, you got to carry it on. That's what we're doing. So.
100%. Awesome. Yep. Quiet Riot, live tonight for the WAPL Christmas Bash. Thank you guys seriously so much for a little time. Much appreciated. And congratulations on everything.
And thank you for playing the new song
track
too. Thank you.
Absolutely.